All right, everybody. It's early May. I'm just doing a short video here to show you the new tent that I purchased over the winter and compare it to the tent that I've had since late 2019 for the Pacific Crest Trail. So I'll be heading out in a little while. I'll have another video to explain what the plan is, but essentially I'll go back to the Bucks Lake area, mile 1270, and continue north from there. So when I'm ready to give more information on that, I will do so. And so for now, I'm going to show you the new tent. So first of all, here's the tent that I've hiked most of the Pacific Crest Trail with. It's a Sierra Designs FL1, which means it's a one-person tent. You've probably seen me video it before if you've watched a lot of the videos. I really like the tent. It's nice and light, and it's also I've gotten pretty good at setting it up. I've had it for a while now and have had really no issues with it. Except for a little hole in the screen, which I've fixed up, and you can kind of see I've put a patch over it. But other than that, it's been great. And I guess my only complaint is it's a little narrow, and I'm not a big guy, but it's long enough, that's for sure. The issue is sometimes I have more items in the tent that I need room for, and it also has a bit of a height issue for me. Even though I'm not a big guy, when I sit up it can be a little bit tight in there. So I did my research. I'd seen this tent on the trail. It's the Durston X-Mid 2-person tent, and one of the reasons I went 2-person obviously was for more room. And by the way, I'm showing you both tents in Stargazer mode. And then I'll also film a setup with the fly, so you can see the more traditional setup. So a lot more room and a lot more headroom. I'm looking forward to trying it out. This is actually the very first time I've set it up. So it took and it's still not perfect. I can tell you that I've got some practicing to do with this tent. But I'm going to use this, obviously. And after I've had a little while and a little time to play around with it and keep it hopefully in good shape, I can give you my thoughts on it. Right now it seems a little more complicated to set up than the Sierra Designs tent. However, the big advantage of this tent, the Durston, just tripped on a guy line, the big advantage is it's actually the same weight as my Sierra Design one. So I'm not giving anything up. I'm gaining room, and I'm gaining some headroom. And if it takes me a little while to figure out how to set up, I'm fine with that. Okay, so here we go with the full setup with the fly and the inner tent, or tub sometimes they're called. It's the screen tent that I was showing you earlier that's on the inside. So it's actually a 2-piece. Both of them are. Now this is what I've been so used to, the Sierra Designs, since 2019. There were a couple of years where I couldn't hike because of the COVID situation, but anyway, obviously got really used to this tent, and I've hiked in Canada with it as well. I have to apologize for a little bit of the traffic noise here once in a while. So, very used to setting it up. It's pretty easy to do now for me, but there's a few issues that I've had problems with over the years, and one of them is getting a tight ridge line. It requires this guy wire that's right here. You can see that comes down. So I've been tripping over it on occasion, at night especially, of course, and it's just one of the things about the tent that it's just the way it is. So when I set it up, the other difference with it that is a little annoying but not terrible is that I have to set up the fly and then put the screen in afterwards. And so far I haven't figured out how to have both, because one of the issues is the tent, my trekking poles, when it's set up like this, it's like a normal trekking pole. You can see that's the bottom of the pole, and the top is the handle. But when you're in stargazer mode, it's the other way around. So it's a little different. Again, not a huge issue, but just something that if it's when I'm setting it up in stargazer mode, I'm fine with it. It has one vent right here, which you can see, and it also has a little toggle here that you can use to tie up the door if you want to keep it open. But it's kind of untidy. Like it never does actually go completely even all the way down. So just minor stuff. The main thing, as I mentioned, is the room. Now, the Durston, surprisingly, to me, I set it up, made a couple of adjustments, and this is what you see. The tent poles, or the trekking poles, are set up the same way, with the tip up, no matter what configuration your setup is. And the thing that I really was impressed with was I just needed 4 stakes. There are no the guy lines are here, but I didn't have to use them. And I have a nice tight, relatively tight ridge line. I have the doors are tight, but they're too tight. So I do have to do an adjustment where, so that I can zip it all the way down. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do there. I'm going to have to research that a bit. But the thing you're going to notice, and this is, I guess, the downside, it's a big footprint. Like, it's going to need, I'm not used to taking up that much space when I find a tent site. If you look at the Sierra Designs, so narrow. I mean, it's pretty easy to find a site. Another thing that I do like, this has a similar roll-up flap, but it rolls up better and it stays there. So it doesn't have a toggle. It's just a different kind of a thing that works. Maybe wouldn't in the wind, but I wouldn't have it open in a windy day anyway. But the other nice thing about it is there's a lot of room. So as a garage. So when this is down, this door flap, I can pull it out and have a lot of room to keep my pack under cover. You look at the configuration. So there's the floor of the tent. And if I was to go over here and show you, this is how the floor is. It's kind of diagonal to the tent. When I set it up, you'd think it would be this angle, but it's actually this angle. Kind of tough to show unless you're here to see it. I like the vents. There's 2 vents, so I like that. Believe it or not, you do need airflow, especially if you're near a body of water and you want to avoid some condensation. So that's it in a nutshell. I might go into more detail on the tent once I'm on the trail. I am thinking about taking the Sierra Designs nest, the tub, the inner part, the screen part, as a stargazer tent. But I'll leave the fly. We'll see. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to weigh it and just decide, because it's so much easier, it takes less room, and I do like sleeping kind of under the stars when the weather's nice. So anyway, there we go. Now I'm going to take them apart and put them away until I'm ready to go. Okay, so this is a new tent. I was showing the video earlier of this Durston X-Mid 2, comparing it with my Sierra Designs one-person tent. This is a two-person tent, weighs about the same as I was mentioning earlier. It is a bigger footprint though, so I got to be conscious of that when I'm setting it up. But I am looking forward to the extra room. But one of the things that I highly recommend, which is what I'm doing today, is practicing to set it up. I've actually been fooling around with this for a good 20 minutes, and then I had to watch the video again to realize what I was doing wrong. But once I figured it out, I set this up in less than 5 minutes. And so this is what it looks like with the fly, and the inner is already attached to it, and I've also attached a ground sheet. I'm debating whether I will take that on the hike or not, but I think I will to start with anyway. And I'll give you some details, as I mentioned, on what the hike's going to be. So this is what it looks like without any guy lines being used. Essentially, just 4 stakes on each corner right here, and the 2 trekking poles, and it's standing all on its own. Really like that. If I need to, I do have guy lines that I can attach. As you can see, there, I haven't even undone them yet, but if I'm on the trail and it's a little bit breezy, or I feel I need more support, I can always attach those to the ground or a tree. So that's what it looks like so far. I'm going to unzip it and show you what it looks like with the inner part. Okay, so here's the tent with basically the flaps open. It's not perfect. I'm going to have to play around with that a little bit more. But you get an idea, especially the size inside. And I think I've shown this before. It's hard to judge, but without something in there. But I'll take a picture when I'm on the trail of what it looks like. But what I really like is the size of the vestibule. There's a lot of room there for a pack. My food won't be going there, but because that'll be stored in a bear sack. And there, again, pretty easy. Again, no guy lines, but I could. And here's a better view of what it looks like. So if it's warm, I'm sure I'll be sleeping this way. If there's a possibility of rain, then I can just flip the tents, the doors down, I guess, and leave these open as a vestibule. Part of the design is to create that, and it also creates that peak. So it's very tight. It's a diagonal peak, which my Sierra Designs had as well, but this one seems better, easier for sure, and a lot more room. There is a feature, if I take the fly off, to set it up in what's called Skywatcher mode. And there's a little kit with guy lines to help do that. But I'm going to try a hack that I saw with another hiker of how he created a similar to a Skywatcher setup, and didn't have to remove the fly completely. So I'm going to try that, and if I can do it, I will show it to you. All right, so here's the Durston again. Should point out there's 2 vents. It'll help condensation issues and create a little breeze. But here's a setup that I like. It's pretty easy. So instead of removing the fly completely, I just rolled up the wall, and if it starts to rain or something overnight, I can just quickly roll that wall back down. I'm loving this idea. And I can keep the other side open as well, create a breeze, or I could have it closed if I want a little more privacy on this side, because sometimes you have, people that are nearby, and a little privacy would be a good thing. So I'm really liking that setup. I'll probably be using that a fair amount, just to help, especially on hot days. The evenings sometimes don't cool off enough. So there's the configuration. I'm looking forward to using this. Other than the footprint, I'm pretty happy with it so far. I mean, I haven't stayed in it yet, but it's going to be much easier to store inside the tent. I could even store my pack in there if I wanted to, but it'll probably stay in the vestibule. It depends on the area. Sometimes it's better to keep your pack in the tent if there's things like mice or squirrels around, because they will gnaw through a pack, even though there might not be anything in it. The food won't be in it, but they might still be curious enough to try and get in there. So that's the tent that I'll be taking on my hike. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to be doing because the tent is set up, I'm going to be spraying it with permethrin. And what this is for is, I don't know if that's reading properly or not, but anyway, what this is for is to help with insect control. So I'll be spraying the tent, and I'll be spraying my clothes, because the most important insect that it will protect you from are ticks. And you can even wash your clothes half a dozen times, and that permethrin will stay on your clothes. So, and the tent as well. I have experienced some ticks on the hike so far, but I've managed to see them and deal with them before they've done anything. Unfortunately, most of the time you don't even know if you're being bitten by a tick until they're embedded. So I do have a tick remover tool as well, but it's just one of those concerns that I thought I would address quite easily just by spraying the tent and my clothes that I'm planning to wear. So what am I doing? Well, on approximately June 20th, I'll be leaving where I left off at Buck Lake Road, or Bucks Lake Road, to continue north. And my original plan was to go for about a month or so to get until I got to the Oregon border. But I heard from my friend Jean, who I hiked with a couple of years ago, and then last year he and I hiked in Spain. And he wants to complete the northbound, and he's done just about as much as I have. He's about 100 miles more than I have to go. So we're going to meet up and continue to the Canadian border. That's our plan. So that's 3 months, roughly. Maybe 100 days, actually, is I think what we're shooting for. And assuming there's no issues that affect either one of us, that's our plan, to go complete the Pacific Crest Trail. And I'm really looking forward to this. Jean is a good hiker to hike with. He's similar speed that I am. We, even if we're not the same speed on the trail, we have a good idea of how far we want to go during the day, and we'll meet up at the end of the day if we have to. Usually if we do separate, we meet at lunch, or definitely at the end of the day, but a lot of times we hike together as well. So June 20th is the date I'm shooting for. That's about 10 days from now, and I'll be posting on YouTube as usual. I have a new camera, so hopefully as I'm hiking, the visuals won't be so jerky and jiggly. Like, I'm hoping that this phone will have a better stabilization mode, so that as I'm walking and hiking, you're not getting seasick watching where I'm going. So and that's about it for now. As I start the hike, as I said, I will be posting. Not sure if it'll be day by day. I might do 2 or 3 day sections on one video. Sometimes it's just easier to do it that way, especially since every day can be kind of the same for me. But I'll try and video the most interesting, what I think is interesting, hopefully to you. And yeah, if you have some comments, look forward to reading them whenever I get the chance. And also, if you happen to know a little bit more about the Durston X-Mid that you'd like to let me know about, first of all, what you think of the setup, if it was, if I did it properly, and I think I did. But any tips, I would look forward to seeing or reading. Thank you.